This chapter did a good job of creating a bridge between arcs and kind of just starting to show us a little peek about where we may go and what we may see in the next one.
One Piece, Chapter 490, Arriving Again.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, and I'm here to bring you another review on the awesome and ongoing and wonderfully woven, masterfully realized and written and articulated and drawn tale that, of course, is One Piece. Now, in the last chapter, it didn't actually signify the end of a volume, but it did signify the actual end to the arc of Thriller Bark, which was an arc and a saga. This was the first time that we had seen Oda do this, actually. Normally, he has several arcs, usually 2, 3, 4, you know, so there were several in the first couple, within a saga. This one is listed as a standalone arc, and of course is its own saga. You know, I have some mixed thoughts about it. Overall, though, I did think it was very good, especially some of the things that happen at the end, which lead slightly into what happens in this chapter. So, following the events of the last chapter, and obviously finding out about the VV card and the fact that that Ace is apparently not doing well, we know from a couple of chapters back, reading that he had actually been captured and is awaiting execution and Impel Down. So, a lot of bad things going on with that. And we wind up finding out at this chapter, when it picks up, we find out pretty quickly that Luffy is not intending to go after him, which is... I kind of understand it, but I kind of don't, okay? Clearly, Ace is harmed, hurt, on the verge of death, or in some kind of danger or detriment. As you can see, this VV card is burned at the edges and kind of curled up and everything else. It looks like he's under duress. Luffy's reasoning is like, you know what, nah, you know, Ace would just get pissed off at me. He's very self-reliant, very self-sufficient, and he certainly does not want to have help from others. Don't worry about it, you know, that type of thing. And then, you know, somebody makes mention of it. I think it might be Zoro or Sanji that makes mention of it. And then, you know, once basically the piece of paper reflects the health of the person. So once he gets better, that'll look better, and then you'll know. And then Luffy's like, oh, then I'll go visit him. Besides, we're rival pirates, you know, and this and that. But at the end of the day, I have trouble agreeing with it because blood is thicker than water, than any type of rival or any type of outside bullshit like that. Even in One Piece, we've seen blood, family, you know, family and that close friendship that's built, you know, upon the camaraderie and the events that you've shared together. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents on it. So we do wind up seeing at the beginning, too, a kind of cast-off. As they cast off from Thriller Bark, Lola and her crew are sitting around, and they're kind of just chilling, getting ready to, of course, you know, embark on their own journey. And I thought this was worth noting. It says something about the Florian Triangle, and for 10 years, and this, then over 100 you know, ships a year wind up, you know, getting lost in this thing, blah, blah, blah. And what I really liked is that there was this part where it kind of alluded to or foreshadowed something that maybe we'll see down the road, and that was that Lola thought she saw something moving in the mist, something swirling in the mist, and whether that was some kind of huge sea creature, some beast, some sort of phantom, some ethereal type being, I don't know yet at this point. But I did think that it was kind of a nice little, you know, a nice little nod to those sort of things. So, anyway, we go back to the crew of the Thousand Sunny, but after we have a brief encounter at Marijoa. And what I thought was cool about this, too, is that Kuma just sort of left, okay? Yeah, he gave Zoro all the pain and everything else. I got that from all the comments. And as many of you would like to go and point out that it was so clear-cut, it, as a matter of fact, was not. If you go back and you look at the manga, he takes in a little bit of pain, and then it does show him actually putting his hands into the thing of pain. But when it's explained afterwards by those two of Lola's crew or whatever that happened to see it, they said that he went and he took in a little bubble of his pain, and that was it. So it's very, very conflicting, and anybody who actually pays any attention to not just the manga, or not just the anime, the manga itself, it was not very clear if he did take all of it in, or if Kuma wound up basically going and seeing that, hey, you know what, he was willing to take it all in, so I'm not going to give it all to him right now, you know, just to... kind of one of those things where he's almost like testing him, and he saw that, like, you know, he was willing to give his own life and to do whatever it took to save his crew members, so that was enough for him. Anyway, the question that I wonder that begs to be answered is, why did Kuma leave them and not kill any of them? Because now he's getting scolded back at headquarters by Admiral Sengoku, Fleet Admiral Sengoku, And Garp is there as well too, and Garp's cracking up. He's like, "That's my grandson for you," you know. And you know, Sengoku's like, "What the hell? We can't have this happening." Obviously, he's taking out warlords left and right, and you know, and he's, you know, saying, "How could you not take out a weakened crew like that in a weakened state with all your vast power?" And then he goes and pegs it right for what happened, you know, or what do we think happens? He says, "You got a bleeding heart for them. You got a soft spot for them." Anyway, and the way that Garp goes and puts it out is that, like, you know, Luffy's not somebody that goes and is going to brag about his exploits. He's not going to go around and tell everybody that he took down Moria. He's just going to go on his way and go back to his journey, his mission. The rest of the chapter, though, focuses on the crew and the Thousand Sunny. They actually wind up reaching the Red Line on the other side of the world. The cool, significant thing about this, at least in my mind, is that they've now journeyed from where they came in at Reverse Mountain on the other side of the world, on that side of the Red Line, obviously, because it goes this way for the Red Line, and then the other way, of course, is the Grand Line that goes around. It feels like they've hit a milestone, you know what I mean? Oh my god, they've made it halfway, they've gotten to here, you know? And as we go and we see all the crew, they kind of reminisce on, you know, at what point they actually came into, or came about to be on the Grand Line and this and that, you know? And what I like, too, is even Brook, who's new to the crew, winds up telling Luffy, "Are you sure we can make a side detour? It's not a big deal," you know what I mean? My whole journey to get back to Laboon, you know, it's waited plenty long. He's still going to be there, you know? So I really like that everybody in the crew was like, "Hey, man, let's go ahead and get Ace," and Luffy still didn't want to do it. So they wind up getting to the Red Line, and the log pose is pointing straight down, of course, right? They know they got to get to Fishman Island, but like with Skypiea, they don't know how. They take the submersible, the cool little shark sub that Frankie has, which is rated to go down to 5,000 meters, which is absolutely insane when you think about it, because 5,000 meters is something like, what, 15? It's about 3 miles down. Anyway, I believe it's Robin, Luffy, and Brook wind up going down there. There's some joking with Brook about they might not make it. What kind of panties is Nami wearing today? The little throw-in jokes that they put in there, that Oda puts in there. And really, they wind up not finding anything other than encountering, you know, a couple of giant, crazy Sea King or sea-like monsters, you know. They wind up coming back up, and again, nothing really happens from it. So everybody's kind of trying to figure out at this point, how do we actually get underneath the Red Line? The Red Line is so tall, you can't even see the top of it. And that's what I like about this. It kind of gives you that sort of mystical kind of feeling, you know, to you, that sort of Lord of the Rings, that fantasy type deal. Like, this wall is so high, I can't even see the top of it. Because it's in the clouds, you know, it's obscured by the clouds. And again, just like with Skypiea, although the log pose is pointing them in the direction they need to go, how the hell are they going to get there? They went 3 miles down and didn't find anything. So the chapter winds up ending off, though, which I thought was pretty cool. There's this huge sea rabbit, Sea King, whatever, it looks like a rabbit. They call it a sea rabbit. That comes out of the water, and Luffy goes and hits it with a gum-gum rifle, you know, and just nails him. As he nails this thing, a couple of things come flying out of it and wind up landing on the deck of the ship. And to Sanji's amazement, what actually landed on him and almost crushed him is an actual mermaid, right? And the cool thing about the actual mermaid, and the other thing is this little Rastafarian-looking starfish, kind of wears one of those sort of like beanie caps or whatever that you see a lot of the Jamaicans wear that holds their dreadlocks in. Anyway, so these two wind up landing on there, and the mermaid is, you know, she's, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry I killed a human," and you can tell she's already this type of you know, accident-prone type person. "Oh, I get swallowed by Sea Kings a lot. This is the 20th time I've been swallowed by a Sea King." And I'm like, what the? But anyway, even with Sanji, his eyes popping out of his head over there and something swelling up in his pants, nonetheless, with all those things happening, we find out at the end of it that it's none other than Cammy, the Kissing Gurami mermaid. Now, anybody who doesn't remember or know Cammy, you may have not followed along with the cover stories. I'm not sure if, for those of you that read online scans, I'm not sure if the cover stories are in there and intact, or if you did follow them along. But I actually did a video, which I'll put a link to in the description, that was about Hachi from one of the fishermen, Arlong Pirates fishermen, and kind of his continuing story and how he eventually opened up this octopus fritter shop with Cammy. And so it's kind of cool to actually go and see that character now back implemented front and center into the world over here. And that's how the chapter ends off, though. So my chapter question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is really, what are your thoughts on Kuma letting them go, and why do you think he let them go? You know, obviously the Straw Hat's back on Thriller Bark. Leave your answer to that question in the comments down below. Please feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation.
Thank you very much for watching. You come follow me on Twitter, Facebook, or other channel right now.